Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Take Two Podcast. My name is Brian. I'm your host here at the TTP, episode 277. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're over on YouTube, much appreciate your fandom. It is phenomenal to have you. 277 straight weeks, Hollywood news, TV, movie reviews, and of course, my Take Two. You know, that's in the intro. I don't know why I like to say it again, but I do. It's a thing. But either way, I'm glad that you're here, glad that you're listening, glad that you're joining in on all the fun. Today is gonna be fun. 3 big reviews for you folks. The Fallout movie that I was looking forward to. I might have some high praise about that a little bit later on in the review section. Home Team, that dropped on Netflix. Fallout's over on HBO Max. Home Team, Netflix. Curiosity killed the cat is the reason that I had to watch this one, and there's thoughts. I have thoughts on it, that's for sure. And then Mayor of Kingstown is a series over on Paramount, Jeremy Renner series that I've been wanting to watch, chipped away at it over the last couple of weeks, finally wrapped it up. So we'll be discussing that later on. Also, bonus, we haven't had a celeb interview in a while, but we have one back today. Miss Veronica Burgess, she's an actress out of LA. She's a mom. She's a veteran from the Navy. She's a dancer. She's a producer. You name it, this lady does it all. I don't want to spoil the chat, but later on you'll be hearing my chat with Miss Veronica Burgess. She's got some great things coming up, some really cool stuff. You guys might have noticed that, you know, the TVs and movies is the go-to here. Take Two Podcast has been for 5+ years. Show changed a wee bit back in October, just down to me, just the solo host. Since that occurred, I chit-chat a little more Broadway stuff, a little more on-stage things. Not for no reason in particular, but I don't know, it just comes out. And Veronica, a big stage person, has a big stage production coming up. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. This fits great. So anyway, Veronica Burgess coming up a little bit later. I think you guys are going to enjoy that chat. If you want more Take Two Podcasts, well, guess what? At Take Two Podcast for Twitter, Take Two Podcast at gmail.com for email, Facebook, Instagram, easy to find Take Two Podcast. And if you want a text or voicemail, I had lengthy combos this week on the text line, man. Love it. Bring it on. 667-365-8253. 667-365-TAKE. TAKE. That's right, baby. Text or leave a voicemail anytime. If you call, I promise I won't pick up. You can just leave that voicemail. If you want to call and have me pick up, text me on that line and see if I'll give you my real life phone number. That could be fun. And of course, over on YouTube as well, if you guys want to watch and see my smiling face. Anybody notice anything different? Huh? I've been told lately that I'm tired. I look tired. I've been told you look tired. You look like you got the bags under the eyes. That's usually what comes with being tired. And thanks for that. But also, I figured I'd try and fix it for you guys that actually wants to see my face on YouTube. Thank you. So what I did is I did the ice thing where you dip your face in a bucket of ice. So I did it 3 sessions, 15 seconds each. Woo! I'm awake. I'm awake, that's for sure. I don't know if the bags are gone. But either way, thank you guys for joining on YouTube, on podcast, however you get in the Take Two Podcast platform. I do appreciate it. All right, let's rock and roll. Episode 277. If you want to scroll back a couple of days, you'll notice that our monthly spinoff show, The Realm of Take Two, Roy was back, baby, for his January episode, and boy, was this episode good. I hope you guys enjoy that. He covered a lot. Witcher, Naomi, Wheel of Time, a whole bunch of stuff, man. His show is phenomenal and covered a lot of stuff, and it is on your Take Two Podcast feed as we speak. So when you're done listening to me, scroll back and jump over to the Roy from The Realm of Take Two. It's good stuff. Also, I wanted to point out we had a trivia time winner. 2 episodes ago, I just haphazardly threw out a quote that happens throughout our conversation on the show, and a lot of times those get turned into trivia times. And when I threw out the quote, I just said, hey, there's a trivia time. Didn't even make it a thing, right? Which normally I try to do. But Chris, loyal listener Chris, been around since day one. He was a Patreon back when we had Patreon. He called me out. He texted in the winner. He texted that hotline, 667-365-8253, and he knew the quote. I was very impressed. The quote was, I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit. I'm getting a Bowflex. And he knew that was Chris Pratt as Star-Lord from Infinity War, where they were calling him chubby and all that, and then he realizes he's got to start working out again. But it was so off the cuff. The fact that Chris got it, quite impressive. Quite impressive, my good man. All right, Fallout, Home Team, Mayor of Kingstown, all coming up a little bit later. Just after that, you're going to get the interview with Veronica Burgess. If you need to jump around for whatever reason, not to skip over Veronica, don't skip Veronica. She's fantastic. If you need to skip anything else around, especially if we get into spoilery things, boom, timestamps are down there in the show notes. Also on social media, I always like to try and add in a little, just its own timestamp notice so that you guys can purposefully, back, forth, whatever. Last thing before we get rock and rolling is ratings and reviews. I could use one. I could love one. Asking your friends to join on the show, telling your friends all about the show. But then if you do that 5-star rating and review, it does help the show grow. Speaking of growing is finances in quite a few studios' pockets, and that usually happens over the weekend with the box office. Retaining their lead in first place is Spider-Man No Way Home. I was thinking, could Spider-Man get knocked off? Could Scream grab that back? It seemed like there was a social media push of this battle, right? Of the Spider-Man versus Scream battle. There was enough Scream and horror heads out there that were like, oh, let's go back. It almost came in first place 2 weeks in a row. Spider-Man just barely edged it out last week. Maybe we can come back into the theaters and see it again. It didn't happen. Now, granted, Spider-Man, $11 million, $735 total domestic. That's a word. And the movie just keeps churning out cash. Still in 3,600 theaters, and I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. It's still going to be making above that money. I'm pretty sure that is almost spot on to the amount of money I said it was going to make this weekend. Was it not? Did I not say it was going to make $11 million? And it made $11 million? Somebody rewind. Check the tape. Pull receipts, as the kids like to say. All right, Scream does come in at 7.3, puts it at $62 million. It puts it at $100 million worldwide. Rock on, baby. Rock on. Green light that Scream 6, as if they weren't going to do it anyway. Sing 2, $4.8 million, $134 million overall. Redeeming Love, $1.8 million, puts it at 6 overall. The Kingsman, 5th place, another 1.7. The 355, 1.4. American Underdog, 1.2. Ghostbusters, 700,000. Licorice Pizza, just under 700,000. And then West Side Story, $614,000. Out of the top 10 is Nightmare Alley. Man, I desperately am trying to see this film, but it's just not happening. Timing is not working out to go see it. Eventually, it's going to happen at some point. But Spidey, big winner. No surprise there. Going forward, though, we will talk. Finally, maybe. Spidey, I can't say finally because it got defeated 2 weeks ago, but we might get out of its stronghold on the top 2 time slot there for or a box office slot for Spider-Man No Way Home. That is going to wrap up the box office. Now we shall chit-chat about one of my favorite parts of the week, the poll. Poll results, here they are, hot and heavy. Hang on one sec. I love the poll results because they gain interaction, chit-chat, back and forth with you guys. That is the main reason, the main crux of why this show exists. And it's not just for me to sit here and give you my opinions, which does happen, but is for us to chat TV and movies. It's why I love the text hotline. It's why we love hitting up the DMs and the other podcasts. Rock on, guys. Absolutely love it. All right, bring the energy here. Mayor of Kingstown talks about prison, people in prison, people on death row. So I had that on the brain. So I thought, if I were on death row, and they ask the guys on death row, what are your last words? What will your last words be? What was the last thing? And so you get that last meal. You get to find a meal. What would you choose? I would be a jerk. I would like a bushel of Maryland crabs, please. A burger or 2 on the side, maybe a good pizza, maybe a Lido pizza on the side because you can grab a smaller slice. Bang. I could pound an entire Lido pizza easily without even thinking about it. Crazy. Love it. Delicious. Outside of New York pizza, best pizza in the land. But a bushel of crabs, so that way it takes a while. Takes a long time to do that and have to sit and have the guards sit there and just watch me picking at crabs, picking at all day. And a full bushel, I'll pound the whole bushel. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to die. Who cares? I would love to pound the entire bushel. Either way, last words, not sure what I would think. I think I would go out with roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. Because it would be so prophetic. The guards and the priests would be like, whoa, he's dying and where he's going. Why did he say we or the rest? I don't know. Something dumb. But I'd be like, nah, man, it's just a movie quote from one of my favorite movies of all time. Either way. What could be the last thing you could do? So my question was on the pose, what would be the last event you could attend of these 4 options? Because I this time, normally we're all about the comment below. I just wanted to kind of trim it down, if you don't mind, just for this one of these 4, which would be your choice. Because there's many, what would you like to do on your final night out there? I think people would answer something other than go to the movies. I see my wife one more time. Something dumb like that. Either way. Oh man, that sentence came out not properly, but luckily my wife doesn't listen. All right, my options were go to the movies, go to a concert, go to see a Broadway show, or go to a drive-in movie, right? Which is kind of making a major comeback. And granted, all of these options where you would get to choose. You choose whatever movie is going to play in the theater, whatever band or musician you want to play at said concert. And then Broadway show, obviously, you pick the musical, and then or play. I always go musical route, but or play. And then drive-in, same thing. You pick the film that would play, which in my opinion would be a different film from going to the theater. Like the final movie I would watch in the theaters versus final movie I would watch at a drive-in. I don't know why. When I think drive-in, I think Jurassic Park would be brilliant to see that in the drive-in. Because maybe you're surrounded by trees and at any moment you're thinking that an actual T-Rex could walk out while you're sitting there in your car. Just adding to the ambiance, I suppose. All right, no shocker here. Number one was movie, 40%. Go to a regular movie. Go to a concert, 37%. Drive-in comes in at 13%. And dead last place, go to see a Broadway musical at 10%. I guess some folks don't want to defy gravity. But Instagram, we had two commenters over on Instagram. Katz said Burning Man. And Craig said the 1997 or 1998 HF Festival. My God, I attended that thing so many times, I still can't say it properly. Within the realm, you guys didn't need to tell me what specific concert, but that's awesome. Those are the ones you would go to. My thought also was more like going forward, like not what show did you go to relive, but like just going forward. You would pick a concert, rock and roll, now pick a band. But that's great. Cats would want to redo that Burning Man concert, and Craig with the 97-98 HF Festival. Craig would also want to prolong his death by definitely staying all the way through the concert to watch the Jumbotron at the very end. Anyone that went to the HF Festival knows exactly what I'm speaking of, and now I'll be getting canceled for that comment. Anyways, just kind of a fun one. Next week, we'll be back onto some more movie-specific things, but I was just kind of a little curious. What would you guys choose? A decent voter turnout on this one, but hit me up on the hotline, 667-365-8253, or slide into any one of my DMs, or all of them. Hey, and let me know some more thoughts. Poll results, or not the results, the poll itself drops on Thursdays. Vote through that all the way through Sunday, and then results will be then given on the following week. Idiot. No, I was talking to myself, not you guys. All right, done with the box office. Done with the poll. We're having fun today, man. Episode 277. This is a blast. I love when I get to talk to actors and actresses. Absolutely adore it, man. And fun fact, and we'll get to Veronica in a minute after the reviews. There are some reviews that, there are some interviews that come across my desk. I'm just like, I don't know this person, and so I'll do some research, obviously, because I want to get to know that person. But it's not like woohoo, And I've had some big time celebs where I got to talk to where I know so much about them already, and then I go into it just like kind of a different level of nervous. So Veronica was one. I don't know Veronica at all, but it was sent my way, highly recommended. That person was spot on because Veronica is fantastic. It's weird when I get to talk to people I don't know anything about or whatnot. They turn out to be better chats. It's so wild. And I think you guys are going to hear that later on, Veronica. It's an absolute blast. So I don't have any idea where I was going with that sentence. I'll be honest with you. I completely lost my train of thought, except that Veronica's an amazing person. She's a great actress. But that's that type of interview that I got there. Some of that energy. And I love it. I will give you guys a little bit of a spoiler. We have more celebs lined up. I'm not going to say whom or whatever because they haven't totally happened yet. But we have some more things lined up. So if you enjoy the celebrity interviews and chats with actors, actresses, filmmakers of some kind, they're coming, baby. We're going to get some more. Let's start off with the reviews. The Fallout. HBO Max. This just started streaming last week. Ironically, this was listed as 2021 product, but they boosted it. They pushed it a wee bit, so it drops in 2022. This is Jenna Ortega. The main reason I wanted to see this is because Jenna Ortega was in Scream. And I was thinking, oh, what has she got coming up next? She's going to follow up Scream, 2 things in a month. Good for her. Maddie Ziegler, my daughter is a fan of hers through her TikToking, and she was on a Disney show, I think. Oh, shoot, don't quote me on that one. Either way. Also, Julie Bowen. What's up, Baltimore? Baltimore girl Julie Bowen is in this. John Ortiz in this, and Shailene Woodley. Although blinking, you kind of miss her. I didn't realize that it was Shailene Woodley at first. And then when I went back, I was like, oh, wait, that's who Shailene Woodley. Awesome. Rock and roll. And then Niles Fitch. Niles Fitch also does a very good job. Okay. We can speak freely kind of about this film because I'm not really going to give things away here. So there won't be a very spoiler section here, but I will kind of speak freely. This one is written and directed by Megan Park. She's new. She is upcoming. Keep your eye on her because this narrative that she tells here is strong. It is deep, thought-provoking. It is painful. And It makes you angry. It makes you sad, all within the context of an hour and 32-minute film. And I think she does a fantastic job. Megan Park, I have your name circled as a filmmaker that I definitely want to pay attention to what you have to say next. Well done on this one. Jenna Ortega is a senior in high school, maybe, and junior, senior. I can't recall if they actually say if she's whatever, but she's in the back half of high school. We'll go senior because there's some smoochy boochy scenes later that I would prefer if she was a senior to than as opposed to like a freshman. And school shooting. She's at school. Some kid comes in, lights up the school, kills a bunch of kids. Major school shooting. Obviously, Jenna Ortega survives. In that, so she's not the dorky kid, but she's definitely not the most popular kid, right? She is in the bathroom, and during the shooting, she hides in a stall. The popular girl, played by Maddie Ziegler, is in there. She's getting ready to film a TikTok because she's this super TikTok famous girl. She hides in the stall with her. So they become pals because now they have this bond of they hid together inside of a stall during the shooting. While inside of there, another kid, Quentin Finch's character, comes in. He's all bloodied up, so they think he's gotten shot. No, it's his brother that got shot, and he held him while he died. Now he came into the bathroom so he could hide also. So there's a little bond between these three characters during their school shooting. A. B. Now the story goes, how do each of these characters in their own right just deal with this, right? They don't return to school right away. How are they now dealing with life after the school shooting? Obviously, Niles Fitch's character lost a brother. And then Ziegler, now her whole social media thing is totally different, totally changed. Ortega, how is she dealing with all this? The crazy part is Ortega comes from a good family. Parents are both present, has a younger sister. Everything about her life is great, right? Your modern middle-class family, they're all great. Ziegler, not. Super rich, parents are never home. We never even see the parents at all in this film. So different avenues that these people are coming from, but now we're in a common spot because we just went through this tragedy together. This movie dives deep, man. It dives deep into just to the basic day-to-day life of how somebody deals with grief, with how somebody deals with mourning, with how somebody deals with a tragedy that was placed onto your doorstep. And it goes all avenues. Ortega's character has a friend played by Will Ropp who deals with it by becoming the face of change, right? Starts marches and starts vigils and things of that nature, and gets on TV saying we need to stop these and we need gun control, and goes down that whole route. I will tell you guys, this is not a political gun control at all. A couple of characters mentioned in here, but if you're worried that this is going to be a political thing saying yay or nay towards having guns, it's not. So don't stress on if that would bother you or if that would fire you up to want to see it. It doesn't go much down that road. Either way, so he goes that route. Ortega, she doesn't know what to do. Her character, she tries the drinking. She tries the drugs. She tries some smoochy-boochy scenes with girls, with boys. And Maddie Ziegler, then her character, she's so on her own as is. She just deals with it in any way she can. Basically, she's like, well, this non-popular kid wants to now hang out with me. I actually enjoy her company. Now I'm going to start becoming friends with this chick. So that's kind of the route that this film is. We're looking in 3 to 4 different characters and how they have dealt with this in their own way, all centered through the eyes of Veda, Jenna Ortega's character. That's the essence of the film. How does this movie wrap up? Oh, I'm not going to give that part away, but it's just, man, it makes you mad. It just makes you mad. And I'm sitting here as a parent of a 13-year-old, a girl who's going to be in high school next year, 2 more boys who are, going to be going through school. As a parent, you're just watching this because you feel helpless, you feel helpless in things like this. And this movie really hammers home how helpless you are in these stupid situations. And again, I'm not going to go down a political road on any of this stuff. There is brilliant scenes by both of the parents, John Ortiz and Julie Bowen, on how they're dealing with this. Julie Bowen, the overbearing, hey, honey, are you okay? Hey, honey, you're okay. Hey, honey, she goes that route. John Ortiz's character just, kind of let the kids deal with it. She is old enough to kind of deal with it, but I'm here if you need me. And so it even breaks down the parents in different realms of how are they dealing with this and how can they be supportive for their children type thing. Both dealing with it in different ways. Neither are wrong or right. And I think that aspect of the movie really gets touched on a lot here of there is no right or wrong in how to deal with your grief. Maybe you could say the wrong might be the massive boozing and drug use. maybe to, at some degree. Anywho, I mean, there's one point where the dad in this like allows Ortega's character to use profanity, and it is a very therapeutic through humor, but also just like coming of age and adulthood with your parents type moment that is allowed in this, but then that allows her character to grow even more. It's really, man, it's really well done. This isn't the greatest movie of all time, but I think it's well worth your watch just for the pain that it might allow you to see their eyes through, and maybe even yourselves. And luckily, I don't know firsthand school shooting people in any capacity, but any of you guys that are listeners out there that might be connected, anyone, this may be a therapeutic movie for you to watch because you see the pain that each of these characters go through. How do each one of them deal with it? I will give you this spoiler. They're not out. Like when the movie ends, they're not done with their grieving. None of them are. This is the one thing this movie does tell you is that these things will scar you for life, but then how can we move on? How can we get better? All of this in an hour and 30-minute film. It is incredible how some filmmakers have the ability just to drive a narrative to tell you a story that just engages you so well. And again, if I could sing Megan Parks' praises a little bit more in that realm, I think she does a phenomenal job here. Okay, acting. Ziegler. I know, TikTokers and social media influencers, they might get poo-pooed on their abilities to actually be actors in instances, and rightfully so in most cases. But she does a great job. She's perfectly fine here. She does that number two great. There are times where you really feel emotion for her. There's a couple of strong scenes that she has on her own and then with Ortega together. Their chemistry, let's see another thing with these two ladies together. Give me, like a book smart style movie where, buddy cop, but with the girls type thing genre. I think they do a great job. Your other side characters, Will, Rob, Niles Fitch, great. Niles Fitch, rock on, man. This kid's got a little bit of a career ahead of him. You can tell already. And I think he's kind of like getting his feet wet in different style performances here. Don't sleep on Niles Fitch going forward because this guy, he's got some stuff. Let's hope he books some really big roles coming up because he's great. John O'Trees, I already mentioned, does a good job. Shailene Woodley, barely in it, but the scenes that she's great. Julie Bowen, man, she's just good. She's just good. And I know you get in a sitcom for 10 plus years like she was on Modern Family, you might only get pigeonholed into that, and you're also in, Happy Gilmore style comedies. You might get put into that realm, but nah. Bowen shows us that she's got the chops and she can act, and she's from the state of Maryland, so how can you go wrong? Ortega, loved it, man. Loved it. She does a really good job. She gives you a character arc. She gives you different avenues of grief. She gives you different avenues of hate. She goes the typical teenage, I'm going to slam my door in your face, don't talk to me route. She goes the, I need a hug from my mom, that's it, don't say a word route. She goes the drugs. She goes the smooching. She goes everything in between. And I really think she does a great job. My bummer for Ortega is this girl's face looks so young. And I felt this with Scream, is that she just has such a youthful face. Not a bad thing, right? I'm the guy dipping my face into ice buckets just before we record so I can look like not a zombie. I feel bad for her career-wise because she has such a youthful face. It may be difficult for her to jump into more adult-oriented films. Like, she's going to be able to play a teenager for a minute. Not a bad thing. There's plenty of female actresses out there in Hollywood probably thinking, yeah, and is this a bad thing? I would love to still be able to play high school. Anyway, I worry sometimes, this is totally not related to this, I worry for her that her career may not take off as much as it could or should because her talent is there. The girl is great. She's got some good things ahead of her. Will it be stalled to the fact because she just looks like she just has a very, very, very young, youthful face. Okay, her acting ability in this is great. She really drives a great performance. I love everything about it. Keep your eye on Jenna Ortega. The month of January has just really boosted her, I hope, into everybody's eyes. Between Scream, between The Fallout, Jenna Ortega has absolutely dominated the month of January. She's done fantastic things. I haven't even looked, but I hope she has about 5 more projects coming out this year alone because she's red hot and her talent proves it. Folks, check out The Fallout on HBO Max. I can highly recommend it. I will tell you there are some painful moments in here where you're just grumpy, especially any of my listeners who are parents. You're going to be mad in some parts. You're going to want to punch a pillow, something to that effect. And for some of you, you may want to start a march or start a vigil, start a movement in some capacity. That's awesome. Hit me up on the side. I'll sign your petition. But Fallout, HBO Max. It's available right now, only an hour and a half. You will not be disappointed. Next up, Home Team. Hour and 35 minutes. This is from your Happy Madison Productions. Also, it's over on the Netflix. Mentioned this casting a long time ago, that Kevin James was going to be playing Sean Payton. Longtime listeners of my show, you guys know here that I'll talk sports every now and then. I'm well versed in some of the sports. I know what Sean Payton looks like. He doesn't look like Kevin James. But what are you going to do, right? Maybe this is the only guy that could get him. Granted, this being a Happy Madison production, amongst other things, that kind of makes sense that they would get Kevin James of the Happy Madison catalog. It would be him of them. I feel bad for Sean Payton because he's not the same waistline that James is. All right, enough of that. Taylor Lautner's also in this. Rob Schneider is also in this. This is the avenue that we're going here. Jackie Sandler's in this. Gary Valentine is in this. This is their people, right? This is all of their crew together. And then a bunch of kid actors. The kid Maxwell Simpkins is also on Mighty Ducks. A couple of the kids that I'm not familiar with other stuff they are. That was the only kid that I recognized from anything else. This movie's god-awful. It really is. It's just really bad. It opens up with Sean Payton and the Saints winning the Super Bowl and him being interviewed, and they changed the interview for him jib-jabbing back and forth to Jim Nantz, and to a point where I was like, I remember them winning the Super Bowl. I remember that not happening. That was not a thing, for sure. But hey, they throw it in there. Anyway, if you don't believe me now, Rotten Tomatoes, if you buy into that sort of thing, is sitting at 17% at the moment. So if that kind of helps you or floats you or sways any kind of thought. Although the audience score is around 48. I don't know what this movie thought it was trying to do because it opens in trying to be like serious. You know, this is about Sean Payton that goes back and he gets suspended by the NFL and he can't be a coach for a year. So he then goes to Texas where his ex-wife lives with her new husband and their son, Sean Payton and the ex-wife's son. And he plays Pee Wee football, 6th grade. And so now he's like, you know what? Since I'm here, maybe I can step in. Maybe I can help things out. And so the team has gotten blown out by 40 plus points the last 5 games. Whenever a team loses by 40 points or more, they turn the scoreboards off. Game over. All done. Bye-bye. He steps in and magically he sees enough talent in this team that we're going to turn this team around middle of the season and make the championship game. Okay? It's just... There's some snarky humor that Kevin James plays where he doesn't do his slapsticky stuff in this. He's the straight versus everybody else's slapstick around him. And I'll give Kevin James credit on that. I will give him some credit to playing that role here where normally it's the other. Normally he plays the funny. And granted, he has comedic one-liners in here. A lot of his comedy is the smarter than you comedy type where you're not figuring something out. You're being an idiot right now. And they'll just come in with a one-liner of, well, if you just thought normal, you would have figured this out by now. Comedy. There's not a lot I can say about this movie. All right, so playoffs, the assistant coach who is completely there for slapstick comedy, for comedic relief, and not a bit of anything he does is funny, makes homemade power bars, feeds them to the team. As the game is on the line, the team lines up, they start getting a rumble in the tumble. They line up and they just start vomiting all over the other team, all over the field. This causes the other team to get scared and not want to go hands-on with them. They're able to run their play. They score the touchdown. They win. Just shocker. They win that game. Even the referee decides to vomit because he's seeing everybody else vomit. It might make you vomit if you are a sympathetic vomiter. There's nothing great about this movie. I'm surprised that it's as high as it is on the 17%. Watch this thing in 1.5 speed if you most definitely need to watch it. I think that like Sean Payton, I can't believe he signed off on this. Maybe he's just a big Adam Sandler guy and just thought like this comedy would be funny. Here's the thing, and I'll wrap. And I think I started this and I kind of went on a tangent there. It doesn't know if it wants to be a kid movie or not. Like it starts off some serious crap. It starts off in a serious realm. And anytime Kevin James is on scene, it's going down this very dark, serious road. He's suspended. He doesn't have a job. He needs to rekindle with his son. And the son hates him because he's never around. And so it's going down a darker path. But on the side, there's a slapstick comic relief guy over here crashing his bicycle into a truck because he's drinking on the job. That's funny, haha, but also dark and serious. So there were definite times where I was thinking, is this a kid movie? I don't think it's a kid movie because there's a lot of adult elements in here. It's rated PG, so I guess it's aimed at kids. I don't know. It's hard pass on this, guys. Hard pass. Let's move on to something better, shall we? Home Team, Kevin James, on Netflix. Rock and roll. Mayor of Kingstown. All right, Paramount Plus has this. Regular Paramount Plus, 10 episodes. You probably have to go to Paramount Plus now because this wrapped up a couple of weeks ago. 10 episodes. Jeremy Renner is your lead here. Diane Wiest. Toby Bamtifa. Not familiar with the gentleman, but he does a great job in here. Taylor Hanley, Emma Laird, Hugh Dillon. Those are your main folks in this one. I knew nothing about this project when I pushed play, which is a blast. I really enjoy when I'm able to actually do that, and knew absolutely nothing. Renner's character is a liaison between prisoners and the outside world. They live in Kingstown, which has 4 jails, max security, a female, and 2 regulars. And he is able to go in between both worlds where he can converse with prisoners and then converse with outsiders and control both. And there is a hierarchy amongst the prisoners between the corrections officers, between the actual inmates, and then between the outside world. And inside the prison, and folks, you're familiar with this, inside the prison, then you have the different groups and the different cliques and how do they get along with each other. And then they have their own government of ways things are handled and whatnot. Renner's character is able to go in between both and kind of get them what they want. Get this. There's a bad guy that is now being put in jail. He makes some phone calls to prisoners that are in there like, hey, this dude's bad. We don't want him to go on trial. We need him to die. Do us a solid. Take care of him. Boom. Next scene, that guy's put in the not the infirmary. Where do they eat? The cafeteria. Bing, his prison guys on the inside. They take care of him. They're done. But then also, there's a couple of corrections officers who are on the take. They kind of let some things slide here and there. Now on the outside, he's got to do favors for the outside people. What's his name? Toby Bamtifa plays the runner of he owns the Crips. He runs the Crips. And they're on the outside. So he has a relationship with them to make sure that they're not touched with the drugs. They're able to still conduct their business while he keeps the FBI off of their back because they're not the fish that they want. They want bigger fish, that whole scenario. So that's what we're talking about here. But it's very dark and deep. And it's not more so like bad cops like who are on the take, like dirty cops or whatever. It's just like everyone knows that some bad things are going on, but as long as we're not hurting one another here, that's fine. We'll let the drugs get smuggled into the jail. We'll turn a blind eye there, so that way we can focus on bigger. That side of dirty cops, if you will. Also, Aidan Gillen's in this, by the way, who plays a creepy dude as only he can. All right, first point I'm going to make. This is a Taylor Sheridan project. He is your 1883. He is your what's the Kevin? Oh my God, Yellowstone. I couldn't think of the name of it. So he's got 3 big projects out there right now. This is obviously done, so we're sitting on 2. But Hugh Dillon plays the sheriff in Yellowstone. Hugh Dillon, of course, is a 45-year-old bald white guy. Looks like a cop, right? You just look at the guy, he looks like a cop. He also plays the lead cop on this show. Bald white guy. Mr. Sheridan, do you think that all police departments just have bald white guys just running around? Huh? What are we doing here, Harry? Okay, I guess that's a thing. Anywho, the story is good. It drives you. I will tell you this. It wraps with a wild ending. A wild ending. I'm not going to give anything away. It wraps with this insane ending. A lot of things come to a head. Some people don't hold their word, and it wraps up insanely. But it didn't answer some of the questions that I thought we were going to get answered throughout. So I think it did kind of leave you kind of, And we're not getting to season 2. This is just a one season. I can't see why there would be another season after this, especially how things wrapped. Some folks die. They're not going to survive to season 2. So where would we go from there? There's been other shows that have gotten season 2s where I thought that as well. The acting in this. Renner is good. I think Renner just doesn't get appreciated for just having that range. He's an action guy. He does the Marvel stuff. He does the other action. He took over from Matt Damon. Can't think of the name of the series. Someone yell at me. Come on. Bourne, Jason Bourne, that stuff. He does a great job there. I think he's just in that level where almost like his character Hawkeye of, oh yeah, he's great, but then never really thinks about him again. Like, you don't, let me list the top actors that we have in Hollywood right now. Jeremy Renner doesn't come across your desk until someone says, hey, what about Jeremy Renner? You go, oh my God, that's right. Wind River, phenomenal. Arctic Dogs, he did the voice of. Anyway, he does a fantastic job acting here. Diane Weiss, she does a good job, but her character is just so mean, right? Just so mean. So I don't totally understand it. She plays the mom. Hugh Dillon, Taylor Handley, Emma Laird, they're all good. Emma Laird, God bless this lady for signing up for the show. I'm curious, in the script, like that said, naked in this part because they turn you into a prostitute. Then again here because you're at the strip club, and then here we're gonna drug you out and we're gonna put bruises all over your body type thing. Like I'm wondering if she was reading the script like, well, 80% of the time I'm gonna be fully nude. 85% of the time I'm going to be covered in bruises all over my body, but it makes the character that much stronger. Like, God bless her for signing on to this role, because it had to have been a very, I don't know the word for type of role that she decided to just invest into here, because she had to really just allow herself to be very open, very free. And she does a fantastic job. Either way, I recommend this. We're not going to get into spoilers. We're going to move on because we have a long show today, but it is very good. Mayor of Kingstown. There are it's 10 eps and it deserves to be 10 eps. It's not one of those where I was thinking, this could have been 8. Sure, they could have trimmed some things, but you have to pay attention. I will say that. Some things come back around later on. It is well thought out. It is well written. There are parts of this that I thought, that's fleshed out better than Yellowstone. This character here factored into character B, which then in the end, because A and B happened, that's what got us to Z. And I think I appreciated the show for that. I thought it was really good, really dark. Renner was really good. As usual. I would love to see Renner in a comedy. I really would. Just like an out there slapsticky comedy. He should have done Home Team. He could have played Sean Payton. Made myself giggle. Mayor of Kingstown. It's a quick review for a good show. And I apologize to Mayor of Kingstown because it's a really good show. It's really dark. Jump on it now. Paramount Plus original series. It's about prisons, stuff like that. I didn't know going into it. Highly rated right now on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes if you don't want to take my word for it. Check out the Mayor of Kingstown. All right, that's wrapping up our reviews. Thank you guys for all of that. Now it is time for another celebrity chat. I've got actress, producer, dancer, phenomenal lady. We chatted for a while. We were only supposed to chat for like 3 minutes, and it turned out to be 15-ish. So enjoy this, and I will see you guys on the other side. Here is Miss Veronica Burgess. Okay, welcome everybody. Take Two podcast. I'm joined by a fantastic actress, Miss Veronica Burgess. She's jumping on. We're going to talk about some of her previous career, some of her going forward career, and a lot of little things in between. I'll be honest, folks, we prepped for like 2 seconds, and I did not tell her any good stuff I'm going to ask her. So this is all going to be curveballs at her, and I hope it totally throws her off her game. Veronica, thank you for joining Take Two podcast.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Brian. This is exciting.
Yay. Okay, so I want to know the good stuff. I want to know you're from California, born and raised?
Yep, born and raised in Southern California, like Lakewood, Long Beach area, if anybody knows where that is.
I'll pretend. Okay, sounds amazing. Sounds fantastic. Awesome, that's good. So you grew up a dancer?
Yeah, so I danced for about 15 years. Primarily ballet. And so like performance was always a part of who I was.
Sure.
It's a big part of my identity. And I think that's why I'm doing this as an adult. And, I've chosen the career path of being in entertainment, which is not an easy one, but it's just like one of those things when it's like in your blood, you gotta do it.
Okay, so not easy career path is what you like to choose because you also decided to join the Navy.
Yeah. I like to make things hard on myself. Like, why not? Always.
Okay.
Yeah, so out of high school, I joined the Navy and did that for 4 years. And that was an experience. As you could probably imagine, I was on a ship that was the next class down from an aircraft carrier. So
Okay.
lots of people on there. It was like a floating city. And, we were gone more than we were in port, and, involved in Operation Iraqi Freedom 1 and 2 and Hurricane Katrina relief. And I'm sort of aging myself a bit because everybody knows Hurricane Katrina
I wasn't going to ask.
2005. But yeah, it's like I just had all of these experiences thrown at me, and I was 18 to 21 when I was in. So it was just I had to grow up really fast. But it was an incredible experience, and it made me who I am today.
Now, was that so? I grew up just outside of Baltimore, and we have the harbor and everything. So we have boats, and then we have Annapolis down the street. So the boating life is common in our area. Was that something just growing up where you did kind of that factored into the Navy versus other branches?
No, I had never actually been on any kind of watercraft.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, I just knew my grandpa was in the Navy in World War II. My dad was in the Army for Vietnam. And I knew I wanted to go one of those branches.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, I don't remember exactly what it was that led me to the Navy, but I'm very grateful that it did lead me in that direction, because the experiences that I had and the places I got to travel to after we were finished with our missions were phenomenal. And I wouldn't have necessarily had that if I would have chosen another branch. So
okay. All right. So you still obviously have the performance inside of you, because now you're doing that after your Navy. But while you were in the Navy, did you try and set up shows? Did you do South Pacific productions while you're on the boat? Anything fun like that? Come on, guys, let's jump in while we're in between, whatever.
That would be incredible. I really wish I would have done that now. No.
Oh, darn. Okay.
No, did not do anything performance related for that entire time.
Gotcha.
And it didn't even dawn on me, honestly, until I was back home, and it had been a couple of years since I had gotten out, that I was like, oh, I can do this as a career.
Sure. Well, I guess you were busy. You did mention that you had some busy moments during those 4 years. So I guess you were a little bit busy. Thank you. Thank your family members for all of your service. That's fantastic. I was doing other research, and it says you're a bit of a runner. Did a couple of half marathons.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love running so much. I know that it's not usually people's favorite, but it's just I don't know. It's just me and the road and my music, and there's nobody bothering me. And it's just a really awesome way to zen out for me.
Agreed.
But I sadly, when I ran the Malibu half marathon last year, I injured my knee. So I haven't been able to do much distance running since then, but it's still something I enjoy doing in shorter distances now until my knee kind of works itself out.
I believe you. And folks, I do promise this is a TV and movie podcast. We'll talk about that stuff in a second. We're getting to entertainment field, but no, I'm totally with you. I used to never run. And then I got divorced many moons ago, and some buddies were like, hey, why don't you try running? Because you're alone with your thoughts, and it's just you, and you can just kind of lose yourself. And then the next thing you know, you get addicted to it. And I ran my first half in DC. And I've always said, anyone that runs a race, one of two things happen. They give you that medal, and you're like, this is the greatest day of my life. I have to do this again. Or awesome, never again. I'll be back on the elliptical, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But it seems like you were on the more addicted side of things, and that's fun. That's good.
Yeah. That's awesome that you're a runner as well.
Yeah. Okay. So wait, what's your PR? What's your fastest race? What's your fastest race?
Oh, I'm terrible.
Sub 2 hours.
Keep track.
2:10.
I'd have to get into my app, because I tracked everything with the Runkeeper app. But
of course, all right, we'll go with 2:10. We'll go 2:10. Was your fastest? All right, so you've been on some big time shows. You've been on Lucifer. You've been on Shameless. And I did want to ask you, as when you're jumping into an already well-oiled machine, if you're jumping into something that's already going, is that an extra bit of nerve-wracking? Is there extra production or research that you need to go into before jumping there?
It's nerve-wracking just because you feel like you're the new kid on the block, because you are.
Right.
But also like I was such a big fan of both of those shows in particular. Like I was just like, oh my gosh. And so that added an element of nerves too. But then when you get there and like you realize everybody's just showing up to work, you know,
Sure.
you know, and everybody was like amazing. You know, all the other actors, they were super nice. Production was amazing. And so they really make you feel, even though you're just in there for, you know, a day or two, they really make you feel like you're part of this family and you get to work.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's wild that you're a fan. I did an episode of House of Cards, season 2, and
awesome.
I wasn't not a fan. I just had not watched. So
Yeah.
my real life buddies, then are like, "Tell us what happened. What's the next spoiler thing?" And I had no clue, and I felt horrible. And then when it releases, they're like, "Isn't this great?" And I was like, "You know what? Maybe I should actually watch the show because, you know, everybody's asking about it." And it was a great show. Nothing against the card. Okay, so going forward, now we're going forward. I did see that you're doing the smart thing. Not that everything you've done up to this point has been done, but you have a producer credit coming up. And getting into that producer field, that's a nice little side hustle that I feel like a lot of actors that as they're still working, they're not waiting anymore to get into that. They're kind of doing that at the same time. And it's another avenue to explore. It doesn't hurt financially usually. So that's a smart route. Is that something you'd always been interested or just fell in your lap type thing?
Yeah, so I had done like just a smidge of producing for a friend of mine. He was, back when I was in college, he was producing, creating a web series. And that's when like web series was still like a new thing. And he's like, hey, you know, I need somebody to kind of like, you know, somebody who's organized to kind of like manage like all the production elements of it. Like, I'll give you a producer credit and like, you know, but essentially what I was doing on that project was like what a line producer would do. And so I kind of got my feet wet with that. It was like, oh, wow, this is like, okay, this isn't like what I thought it was. Like, I just had no idea really like what a producer did other than like, you know, connect people together and like secure money. Like, but then like throughout my career, I've had, you know, a couple other opportunities to produce, you know, films or other films. And every time I learned something new. Every single time I learned something new. I by no means know like, you know, all the ins and outs of being a producer or running a production or anything like that. Like, I don't think that you really know stuff like that until you've worked on like, you know, several projects. But I really like that it's another way that I can be creative, but also kind of use more of like, you know, my business smarts and other skill sets that I have of like connecting people and bringing people together and stuff.
Sure. It's that extrovert inside of you that all performers happen to have at some point. Okay, folks, Take Two Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. I have Veronica Burgess here with me. Going into this, I was like, oh, we'll chat for 5 minutes. And now I literally do think we could talk for 3 hours. So you're so very easy to talk to. Thank you very much. If you guys want to get a hold of her, hello_Veronica B on both Instagram and Twitter. Follow her as well as ours. Now, I work in DC. I work on Capitol Hill. Every year we have a Memorial Day concert. We have a 4th of July concert. We bring in veterans from all over to perform. Actors, big time celebrities. Gary Sinise usually hosts Memorial Day, that kind of thing. And it's fantastic. A huge celebration of Americana. Hopefully we get back to it this year. We haven't had the last couple of years for obvious reasons. So performing on stage with veterans with a military feel, that's exactly something that you've got coming up next. And now I'm going to, 1, let you promote it, but then B, you need to be here in July to perform this thing, hopefully the 4th of July, right in front of the Capitol building. So SOS, Signs of Strength. This is using veterans who are dancers and then non-veterans that are also dancers, and you're putting on a big show.
Yeah, so I've been working with the Diavolo dance company. Our artistic director, Jock Heim, he choreographed Ka, the Cirque du Soleil show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were on like America's Got Talent, and like they made it to the finals. Like, this is like unlike anything you've ever seen. They use like structures. So it's like, you know, performers integrating with the structures and using these structures. And there's like, you know, acrobatic things happening and like modern dance stuff. And it's all very like, it's unique. It's unlike anything you'll ever see. And so if you Google Diablo, you'll see what I'm talking about, because it's kind of hard to put into words. But this is the 6th iteration of their veterans project that they've done. And actually, funnily enough, a few years ago, they were at the Kennedy Center in DC performing. And it has been such a privilege to like work with these guys, because what they're doing, what Jacques wants to do, is use this as a means to help veterans work through some of their stuff that, like some people like me, for me, my story is like a lot different than other people that are in the project. Like some of these people have experienced like really traumatic events that have affected their life. And so this is sort of like, art therapy, if you will, but also like we're showcasing it to audiences, and like it's a very visceral, emotion-filled show, and we're using these structures and we're doing these like maneuvers that are dangerous, and it's just unlike anything I've ever done. And
that's awesome.
It is like one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had. And so our whole purpose for doing this workshop and then showcasing it in performances is to bridge the gap between veterans and civilians, and really have civilians understand like what it means to be in the military. And some of our stories, are, stories that they would have never heard if they didn't know a veteran, and then for the veterans, it's a way of processing these things that happened, to them or, around them or whatever when they were in the military. So, it's really just a phenomenal program. And we're performing at the Wallace Performing Arts Center in Beverly Hills in mid-March. And we did like small intimate showings at our rehearsal space here in Los Angeles just a couple weeks ago, actually. So, it's a show that has to be seen, and hopefully we can take it, to other places across the country. We'll have to see what the future holds, but I'm just super excited to be a part of it.
That's awesome. That's all right. I need to look up flights in March out to Beverly Hills just to check that out at the very least. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And I hope it blows up for multiple reasons, for your success, but then for all the things you just mentioned, just to get that out there so that people can see and hear everything you're talking about, but then also so that you can come to the East Coast and visit. And wouldn't that be wild if you're all of a sudden you're performing? Oh, I know that lady. Hang on a second here.
I would love that.
That would be awesome. I need to have you back on the show. You'd say when, say why, even if you don't have anything to produce, because it's been fantastic talking to you folks. Again, this is Veronica Burgess. She's a phenomenal actress, a performer. Jump on board. I'll promote as we get a little bit closer. Remind me in March to everything you got going on once that's dropping and stuff. That'd be a lot of fun to be a part of. Thank you for including our show in this little capacity. Follow Veronica.
Of course.
Hello_Veronica B. You can follow her both Instagram and Twitter. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Rock and roll. Awesome. Veronica, thank you so much for coming on Take Two Podcast.
Thank you so much, Brian.
All right. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed all that. Please follow her on social. She's got a lot of big things coming up, as you just heard in that interview. And down in the show notes below, you can tagged all of her socials as well, so you can easily find her, and you should do so. Let's move along to our casting couch. We mentioned a while ago that Emilio Estevez is out. He will not be Gordon Bombay on season 2 of The Mighty Ducks. He has issues with the mask mandates, the vaccines, all that kind of stuff. We never got an official word on what he didn't like and what he didn't want to do. But so there was a second there where it was on pause, where he was kind of like, maybe I can do it kind of thing. That's out. He's done. We have his replacement, Josh Duhamel. So we got better looking, we got younger, we got fitter, and that's it. So massive bummer that you lose Gordon Bombay in the Mighty Ducks series here, but Duhamel's fantastic, and he'll be replacing him. Santa Claus series, we mentioned this already. Tim Allen is going to be reprising his role as the Santa Claus. He needs a Mrs. Claus, and Elizabeth Mitchell will be returning. Woohoo! Yay! Red One. Oh, this looks good. This is a Christmas movie coming to Amazon. Christmas action movie coming to Amazon. We have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and we have Chris Human Torch Captain America Evans playing in this one, amongst others. They've already teased out a loaded cast is going to be in there. So we go from Red Notice on Netflix to Red One on Amazon. This is going to be a Christmas action movie. Whoa, okay. So finally, an actual Christmas movie with action in it. Shut up, Die Hard. I just like to poke the flame. I did see, though, in reading this, that Red Notice with The Rock, this has nothing to do with this film, but Red Notice, they are already booking parts 2 and 3 for that. All right, that's fine. If stands for imaginary friends. This is an idea that John Krasinski has had floating around in his head for quite some time, and he's been wanting to write it and produce it and star in it, and guess what? He's darn going to do it. If a film that will be featuring John Krasinski, it will be starring Ryan Reynolds, starring Louis Gossett Jr., starring Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and reunited, and it feels so good, reuniting John Krasinski with, you guessed it, baby, Steve Carell. First project that they're actually doing together, outside of some of that fun internet stuff that we had during the pandemic, since The Office. Rock and roll. Looking forward to this. Comedy by Krasinski, written and directed, and then also starring in. Oh, wait, don't quote me on the directed. I'm 95% sure he's directing. I'll come back to you guys on that in episode 278, just to confirm. Halloween Ends is filming right now. We've got some great pics of Jamie Lee Curtis on set, and we also got teased that there might be another Scream Queen in this film. Maybe. The rumor is Sarah Michelle Gellar will be in Halloween Ends. Why the heck not, man? I know what you did last summer. You're in Scream. Do Halloween. Why isn't she in Texas Chainsaw Massacre? She'd be in all of them, which we did get the trailer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Looks solid. Looks good. Either way, Jason Momoa has been added to Fast 10, F10, F10. So that tells me the last one we went to outer space, this one we're going underwater. We're going deep sea diving because Jason Momoa is Aquaman. That was a bad joke. Fleischman in Trouble was a best-selling book for a while. It is now being adapted to a film. And we have the first sections. I'm sorry, I take that back. It is being adapted into an FX limited series. Tops 3 of the cast: Miss Claire Danes, Miss Lizzie Kaplan, and Mr. Adam Brody. That's going to wrap up the casting couch. On to the Hollywood news. Not a ton of Hollywood news this week. Thankfully, we don't have a litany of RIPs that we've been going through each and every week. But Mortal Kombat 2 is in production. That is rocking and rolling. It is getting revved up. More on that soon. I'm kind of excited to see where they go. Hopefully, they open up into some more villains. It would be, that movie was what it was. It was fine. It was a turn your brain off, eat some popcorn, and just, watch the action. And the storyline was solid enough to carry you through. Looking forward to what they do next. Mortal Kombat 2 coming up. Snow White and the blank. There will not be 7 dwarves. There will be no dwarves in the live-action Rachel Ziegler Gal Gadot remake, or live-action retell. I guess it's a remake. I guess it's a remake, right? Is that what we're calling it? Just the live-action telling of Snow White and the 7 dwarves. So this will just be Snow White. Hopefully they don't leave the and the. That would be dumb. Why would you call it Snow White and the? That was just a bad joke that I was making. Those would probably just call it Snow White. Either way, no dwarves. They're not going to go down that road. Was curious how they were going to do that. So now, who's she living with? She goes into the woods, right? The woodsman drops her off. We know that the other gentleman got cast last week, but he's not playing the huntsman. So curious, is she just living out on her own, living in a cottage by herself, and no dwarves or whatever? Who's singing Hi Ho? Who is singing Hi Ho? That's gonna be the name of the episode. Francis Ford Coppola. Heard of him? He's got a new movie that he's been working on for a while, and that is coming into production later on this year, called Megalopolis. And in an interview, he said this is going to be his biggest budget, most grand production he's ever done. The guy that did The Godfather and Godfather 2, amongst other things. Biggest. So to me, this is like Dune level. He wants big budget. He wants big production. He wants a huge cast. Rock and roll. We'll see when we get a little bit more on that. The only thing I know about Megalopolis is it's supposed to take place pre-9/11 in New York City, where an architect is trying to build a dystopian type world. That's all I got. James Bond. Heard of him? We may be getting the reveal of who is playing James Bond next, either at or directly after the Oscars. March 27th is the Oscars. The rumor being floated now by the Broccoli family is that we will find out who they've chosen to play the next Bond, either at or just after. I hope it's at. I hope, like, the hot name obviously is Idris Elba. I hope he walks out, now presenting Best Actress, Idris Elba, and he walks out, and then he walks out, bum, 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 and then everyone's like, what? Why is the James Bond music playing for Idris Elba? And he's like, that's right, everybody. Before I present, this is a really bad Idris Elba impression. Before I'm not even now going to try. I've lost it, totally lost it. But either way, he's like, before I present Best Actress, just want to let everybody know, Elba, Idris Elba, I would be playing the next Bond. Like, that would be. To me, that would be great. You want to get ratings back on the Oscars? Oscars, do that. Have whomever is Bond announce that they're Bond right then and there. Then you have the whole crowd there. They'll cheer. They'll boo. They'll throw trash on stage, or they'll go woohoo. I don't know. Like, everyone will go nuts, go crazy. My thought on Elba. I love it. I want it. But film me like a trilogy tomorrow and film them all back to back to back. He's just old, he's just old. And I think they want to reboot after everything that Craig did. I think they kind of want to reboot and go fresh. So I think then giving you Elba for 3 to 5 films, that doesn't make sense. That's why I don't think it'll be him. But if they do choose him, which would be awesome, I think film right now. Film all 3 movies like in a row, get them done before he does age out of it, and then you're good to go. Anyway. Little side note there. Lastly, Suits. Anybody watch Suits? I love that show, Suits. Wife and I watch it all the time. They're getting an Arabic adaptation. It'll be played on OSN and then the Egyptian channel UMS. But I did love the Suits, and they're full new cast and all that kind of thing. Adaptation over there for over in Egypt. Cool, neato. That is it for the Hollywood news. Moving on to DC discussion. Not a lot of comic stuff. Not a lot of comics this week, but DC discussion. Suicide Squad, another character in the recent The Suicide Squad, will be getting an HBO Max spinoff. Right now, John Cena is in Peacemaker. A lot of people are loving that series. I'm doing my best to like it. I'm 2.5 eps in. It's growing on me. I'm not madly in love with it like everybody else. And that's a me thing, because the thing's sitting at 94% Rotten Tomatoes. I have read from people that gave it high praise that like episodes 1, 2, you really gotta be like, what? You gotta tough it out, because then eps 3, 4, 5, like the humor grows on you. And okay, that's interesting to say that humor grew on you, because you either like that humor or you don't, right? But I read multiple that said just stick with it. You'll start to kind of like endear to the humor and kind of like let it be funny. It's wild. People are like, I've watched all 5 episodes of Peacemaker and I haven't skipped intro yet because it's amazing. I've skipped intro every time. Not needless to say. But a different character is getting a spinoff also. Could it be Ratcatcher? Could it be Elba's character? Who knows? We shall see. They're getting their own HBO Max spinoff as well. Lastly, in the DC discussion, Grant Gustin's contract on the TV show The Flash will be done after next season, season 9. Does that mean the show is done? No. Should it mean the show is done? Yes. You guys know, I love The Flash. First 4 or 5 seasons, great show. Big fan. I don't know. Wore out its welcome type thing, I know there's people that are still hardcore onto it, still loving it. Rock on. Good on you. That's great. In my opinion, that thing should have wrapped up after like season 5 or 6. I have not watched the last 2 seasons. They could be amazing. I fell off. Couldn't stay with. I'm sorry. But Grant Gustin will be done after next season. Most likely that means so will the show. Next up is the Marvel Minute. There was a rumor that I'm glad this did not happen, that in the Spider-Man No Way Home script, they had a Stan Lee lookalike character that they wanted to kind of Easter egg in the background to like have enough people go like, wait a second, is that Stan Lee? Did they put Stan Lee in there? I did read another thing where they were talking about just CGIing Stan Lee into there. And I'm just glad they didn't do it. We need, and I hope no Marvel product going forward does it, because we all are so familiar with it, and we're all familiar with like that was his last one. He's done. He's no more cameos. This is the, Stan Lee AD section of Marvel going forward. So I really hope they don't filter that in. Maybe if there's like a poster or something, an Easter egg if you want. I know that I think the taxi in No Way Home had Stanley's birthday was the license plate. So I'm way off on that, but something to that effect, right? Do those all day. Throw me those all day. That's great. But don't tease me with a Stanley lookalike type thing, I would stay away. That's just me. Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3, we are being told that this one is going to be different, a little bit darker, still fun. It's going to be something that we haven't seen from the Guardians, and it's also going to be the last time that we see these Guardians together. Somebody going to die? Multiple people going to die? Are they just going to break up? Are we just done making these movies? For my money, I'm glad we're done making these movies. I think, again, run their course. Hopefully this one's as good as the first one, even better. Rock on. That we're done seeing them together. Awesome. Great. To me, this is music to my ears. I enjoy everything that we're hearing here. I'm just curious. Are we not seeing them together again because somebody's going to die? Are we going to kill Star-Lord? Done? Chris Pratt? Out of the MCU? Can't do that. Down. Don't you dare kill Groot. Don't you dare kill Groot. Time to go forward. All right. On Netflix, it dropped last week, and I saw the poster and the promo for it. I literally thought it was a joke. I talked with a longtime listener, Craig. I legit thought that this was a joke. I didn't put any stock into it. I saw the poster for it, Netflix, the woman in the house across the street from the girl inside the window. Kristen Bell project. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Kristen Bell, Dax Shepard, they do funny stuff, right? They're funny people, and they do silly things like this. So I saw the poster, and I was like, oh, that's silly. They're just making some parody thing. Wrong. This is an actual series. It's on Netflix right now. It dropped last week. Some of you guys listening are like, yeah, duh. Well, I'm sorry. I was way over my head. Totally missed it. Either way, I'm hearing good things as well. What sucks is if I watch this and review it, I then have to type that into the show notes every time. And then like when we put it on the socials, like hashtag woman in the window across the street from the girl in the window. Maybe I can abbreviate to just what would that be? Withasftigwita? Yeah? Withasftigwita. Oh, there it is. That's what it'd be. Hashtag withasftigwa. Either way, guys, I want to start chipping away at this because I heard it's fun. I heard it's a good series and it's worth the watch. Also coming out this week on Netflix is Murderville. I'm interested in watching Murderville. This looks funny. Little crime, mystery, murders, a little bit of horror element, but mostly comedy. Will Arnett is running that one. If it didn't have Ken Jeong in it, I'd be super excited. I'm not a fan of the Ken Jeong because he likes Duke. Either way, in the theaters, Jackass and Moonfall. I hate how much I want to see Jackass. I do. I hate it so much. Like, at some point in your life, you got to act like an adult and just be like, I'm 40 plus years old now. I should not like this comedy. Yet here I am laughing at the trailer thinking, I can't wait to go see this. I remember the first one and all the nonsense that they've gone through. I'm going to attempt to go to the theaters and see Jackass. I can't believe I just said that sentence. Moonfall, it looks like one of these movies that we should have no interest in watching, right? There's nobody out there that should be like, yes, Moonfall's coming out. Can't wait to watch it. But everyone that will be like, you know what? That wasn't bad. I liked me some new Moonfall. I could watch Moonfall again. That was a fun ride. I'll watch that thing again. That's what this looks like to me. And I'm on the positive side of it. I positively want to see and come out of thinking, you know what? I liked the Moonfall. That was a fun movie to watch. And that's it. That's really it. We don't have a ton of things coming out. Book of Boba Fett's wrapping up. It's only got 2 episodes left. It's funny. A lot of I was talking to Book of Boba Fett people, Star Wars folks, and they're like, I thought the series was 6 eps, but it's 7. That's weird. Why would they do 7? Well, it's because if anybody watched episode 5, that wasn't a Book of Boba Fett episode. So technically, we are just getting 6 episodes of Book of Boba Fett. They just threw in an episode of a different TV show for its episode 5 in the middle, just to hold you over to then get those other 2 episodes. Not giving any spoilers away for anyone that doesn't know what happened on episode 5. It had nothing to do with Boba Fett. And that's probably why it was the best episode of the series. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Fallout, home team, Mayor of Kingstown. Those were our big reviews today. I hope you guys enjoyed those. Hit us up. 667-365-8253. Veronica Burgess. Follow her across all of her socials. She's got some big things coming up. She is rocking it out there in LA. As you heard in the interview earlier, I'm trying to get her to come to the East Coast because she's got some things that would play well in my area of the earth. Ratings and reviews would be greatly appreciated. Would love to hear from all of you guys on the socials. Episode 277. Have a great night, everybody.